It's time for Bookkeeping Beer and BS. All right, so future show, we're gonna have just a purely trivia show run by ChatGPT, where we all get to play. So I don't have to just be the host. We'll train an AI to read the questions for us and give us time to bullshit. But we're at 20 minutes ago when I started proposing this. I'm curious what people would want to see in a show. Do they like this format of like the panel show with not random people, but like a kind of predetermined panel where whoever is available is jumping in on a day-to-day or a week-to-week basis? Is that a good look? Are people digging that? I want to know. I want your feedback. Are people digging the late night happy hour show with more of an interview style guest on? I'm loose-ended with it, and I actually would love some feedback on this for everybody that's watching, for everybody that listens to podcasts. Shoot me some notes, because you guys know there's no end to those podcasts. Sometimes they're 2-3 hours long, probably not 3 hours long. I'm sure Ben and I have done a 3-hour long one. I think we did one where we had some hunting dudes on. Doug, I appreciate you, brother. Says love the late night show. I love doing the late night show because I feel like I don't have me having an agenda worries me. I don't run well. I do well with some bullet points of like, I want to make sure I talk about this and I want to make sure I talk about that. But me and I present the same way when I'm up in front of a crowd and speaking is I can't have like a predetermined, like it's all up here. There's got to be some bullet points that kind of keep me on track. But I'm really more concerned about like seeing stuff like what Doug wrote and then being able to react to it and talk about it and go that way for a little bit. That's more fun as a show host. I don't know if it's more fun as a listener, but screw you guys, because it's
number 3 all time. I'm pretty sure that people like your show.
Sure, it's not a bad show. Still can be better. Still can get better. So, Doug, how can I make the show better? What do you want? Do you want more guests? Do you want a co-host on there? At one point when I first started the show, Bobby Walker co-hosted it with me every week, and that was super fun to have a co-host on. It did get annoying at points because there'd be like a thing I wanted to ask, but Bobby's louder than I am. It's hard to have a co-host that's more boisterous than you, because then as the host, you're just like, okay, like 12 questions later, like, can I ask a question now? I think I have a question, and we've totally derailed from where I wanted to go with this. Thanks, co-host. But it's fun. Ben does that to me too when he comes on. I'd give him hell for that. He's like, I got 20 things I want to ask. And Ben's just faster at talking and louder than I am. So it's funny having a co-host like that. Doug says, I typically listen to the late night while working in the office till I fall asleep at the desk. What I'm pretty sure Doug is saying is, Dan, you put me to sleep. That's what I read. Yeah. Like I listen to it. It's like listening to a waterfall, and
I'll have to try that. I'll have to put on one of your late night episodes and tonight when I go to sleep and see if that helps.
Yeah,
drift off. I like that.
I do find unpredictable noises I can like sleep with. I can sleep with like background noise of like people talking and stuff like that because it's just kind of like drowns out. But when there's like a fan clicking, it's just like a click, 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 click. I lose my mind. So I could see somebody like falling asleep to a podcast like that, or like a book on tape or a whatever, because it's just like, it's moving and you're just kind of, as long as it's not, too awesome or you can't possibly fall asleep because it's so good. If I try to read at night, I mean, I'm like a page in and I'm just like, even reading to my kids, this is like a conundrum that I face. I try to read to my kids at around like 8 p.m. But like I usually don't go to bed till 10 or 11. But it's really hard to like get a second wind after I read to them, because I start reading to them and I'm just like, yeah, like Dad's pretty tired. Danny, you're 7. Why don't you start reading the next page of this one? Like I'm getting pretty exhausted here. Something about reading just wipes me out. Doug, keep chiming in. I appreciate it. Doug says, I'm not a co-host fan. I like your guest from outside the industry. I do. If you guys listen, I'm a freaking redneck outdoorsman. I love having hunting people on. Like when we've had Kurt Geyer on from Working Class Bow Hunter podcast, which is like one of my favorite hunting podcasts.
That was a great one. I like that one.
I still got to get Steve Ranella from the Meat Eater to come on. I'd like probably have to pay him $20,000 to get him to come on a show, because he's like hitting that level of fame, but that would be pretty sweet. Maybe I can get like one of the meat eater dudes. Maybe I'll get like Spencer Newharth, who runs their trivia, to come on. Maybe he can read a trivia episode for us. He's probably too cool for me. But yeah, I like having guests from outside the industry, but still like when they're business owners. We've had 3. I had Kurt Geyer come on. We had Ernie and Greg from Tethered, and they're manufacturers in the hunting space. And then we had what's his name? I'm totally drawing a blank on the other guy's name. Like a professional land manager, like has a hunting show, like on TV, like hunting show and podcast in the hunting space, but is a professional land manager in that business. And that was super cool. So I do like, I mean, obviously outdoors is a passion of mine. So it's super fun to bring in business owners from passion areas and hear what they have to say about their businesses. Doug did clean this up for me. I appreciate Doug. He says, no, Dan. In regards to falling asleep because my podcast is boring. He said it's from burning the midnight oil at both ends. Up early to bed late.
I feel like Doug stole that from my show this morning because I was talking about the origins of midnight oil, of that phrase. I assumed that it came somewhere from the oil rigs and things, but no, it didn't. And actually Doug came in clutch. He looked it up for me while I was doing my show.
What is it?
Back in like
on the edge of my seat.
Like the 1600s, I think it was. And it's basically referring to like, the castles where they would have the bowls of oil that they would keep lit to be able to see down the corridors and everything. That's where the burning of the midnight oil.
So when you had to like wake up and take a leak, you could find your way through the castle.
Look, see, and that's the first thing I was thinking about. I actually talked about that on the show. I literally said that same phrase almost word for word, and then I stopped myself because like, wait a minute, back then they had chamber pots. They didn't leave the room if they woke up in the middle of the night.
Yeah. So they were going to get a beer.
It was the poor schmuck who had to like carry an overfull one down the hallway.
Oh yeah, it was the guy cleaning up, or somebody being like, man, I can't sleep, I better go get a beer. So Doug, you got a little foreshadowing in here. You said your friend in the junk industry is always good. Andy Weens is coming on. He's on the schedule already. I'll get the date wrong. I think he's on for like August 12th. So Andy, who's like, we're just going to do a Q&A. Dude's a freaking wizard. He's super entertaining. He's super fun to talk to. So I'm super pumped to have Andy come on. Doug said, as a hunter, any of that talk is great. Or like the drain cleaning guy. God, I hope Ben's not on. He's going to be patting himself on the back real quick here. No, I'm just kidding. Ben's like I said.
But it's true that what he said there though is that they bring value to the green, because that's the thing. Like it doesn't have to be all about the green industry all the time, every time, as far as Turfs Up Radio is concerned on that side of it, I mean, my like Nightcap, I have a few guests on here and there that talk about green industry stuff, but otherwise it's just bullshit and having a good time. That's what it's all about. You gotta get some different aspects in there. But like you said, though, also still primarily business owner oriented. Yeah. I had Frank Disher on, or no, I didn't. I was on Frank Disher's podcast not too long ago, and Frank is so freaking fun to talk to. And obviously, he's talking swimming pools and stuff like that, and it's a parallel. But he's on Turfs Up, and I gotta get Frank on the new show. I'm just gonna call it the new show, whatever the new show is, whatever you guys, audience, dictate is what the new show should be. It shall be. And again, shoot me some feedback. Let me know what you want more. Hey, what's up, business nerd? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned a heck of a lot watching that episode. Do me a favor, subscribe right down here. And if you really like what you saw, you got more goods right here. Check out this one, or check out this one, and do this. Go subscribe. Appreciate you. Work smarter, work harder, go earn yourself some pride. Catch you on the next one.